to promote the construction industry and work around that. So Mike really wanted me to come and kind of show you how you can achieve certain things to make yourself stand out from other people to aid you in getting jobs. And I thought the easiest way of doing that would be to just basically talk about my career and where I've got to where I am. So when I left school, I went to do architecture at Newcastle University, and I did that for about 18 months before I decided it really wasn't for me. It was too creative, too subjective, and I wanted something more logical. So I decided I would be an engineer. And so then I took a break for 6 months, got a part-time job, and then started at Newcastle University to do a Master's in Civil and Structural Engineering. So within my first year, I soon realised that I wanted confirmation that a career in engineering was actually for me, and that I didn't want to make the mistake of choosing the wrong subject again. So I wanted to gain work experience to help my studies. But I soon realised that there would be a lot of people applying for work placements, summer work placements, and that I actually had nothing to put on my CV that would say, you need to hire me. So I tried to look for opportunities that made me stand out from everyone else. And I became schools ambassador for construction for STEM, which is science, technology, engineering and maths. And I became a STEM ambassador. So I went into schools with the Institution of Civil Engineers and promoted engineering. They gave me activities and I'd do them with a range of ages, and I hoped that I could bring engineering across in a more interesting way than what I was described at school, which was you design a road. And I thought that sounded pretty boring, and I'd like to make people enthusiastic about engineering. So I started doing that, and I made contacts with ICE, the Institution of Civil Engineers, and they suggested that I get involved with the committee, which was the Graduates and Students Committee, which every region of the ICE has. And they organise events for graduates and students, they help with career development, they do lectures, they do competitions, so it's not all boring lectures, it's football competitions and socials. And through those, they suggested that I applied to a company called Mason Clark Associates for work experience. And they're quite a small company in Hull. And so I did, and I got a work placement. And they really appreciated that I did do this schools ambassador work, and I was on the committee for the ICE, because they have a thing for their CSR, their corporate social responsibility, that they need to put back into the environment. And to be able to be on a council framework, you need to be seen to actively doing things in construction. So from their point of view, I was actually ticking boxes for them. And while I did do work in engineering and got a practical experience of what my studies were going towards, I actually helped them kind of fill their role. I still went into schools to promote engineering on my work placements, and so they were quite happy with that. And I must have done something right, because they heard that I was looking for sponsorship, because having already done 18 months in architecture, the government said that they weren't going to fund me with tuition fees and student loans for my final 2 years of university. So I thought, need to fund myself somehow. So I started looking at scholarships and sponsorships, and they said, well, if you agree to stay with us for 2 years after you graduate, we'll give you a bit of money through university, and you can have summer work placements and holiday placements. So I snapped them up on that offer, and that's the company that I am still working with today. And I've thought the work experience was invaluable. I created contacts, they helped me with my coursework, and they supported me, and in return I got holiday work, and I earned enough money to keep me in university. So I went back to university, and I got to year 4, and it was dissertation titles time. And the titles list came out, and I chose my title based on the tutor that I wanted to see me through that. I thought he would give me the best support that I needed. I was quite a demanding student, so I picked a tutor that would actually give me the time that I wanted to get through to my dissertation. But the dissertation title I chose, I thought was interesting at the time. When I had the meeting with my tutor, I thought, I'm not going to be interested in this for a year. I would like to do something more interesting. And around that time, there was a charity that came into university and gave us a lecture called Team Kenya, and they kind of work with a small village called Ndiwa, and they help the people fund the students there through school, because they all have to pay to go to school, and they provide clothes and food, and they help build houses for them. And I thought, I want to travel, I want to do work with this charity. I'm going to try and tailor my dissertation title so that I can go and do that. And so I picked a bit of a flouncy dissertation title of how tree houses can help solve a housing crisis in third world countries. And against a lot of advice from other tutors who said that it wouldn't make a good title. But I went over there, I raised money, and I helped build huts for them. I researched their quality of housing. I did help with their homework clubs because they didn't have much teaching resources, so I helped with the maths and the technology and the physics. I helped with the Empowering Women Club. A lot of the women there have, well, the teenagers have babies and have HIV, and I tried to make them see that they didn't need to give up on their education, and that even in Kenya you could still achieve something if you just stuck with education. And so I wrapped that all up in my dissertation title, and I concluded not really what I wanted to, but I feel like I did help a little bit by working with this charity. And I graduated with a master's in civil and structural engineering and started my work placement with Mason Clark, where I have been for 2 years. And I've continued to do my school's ambassador work, and now I've joined the Yorkshire and Humber ICE committee. So I help organise the events. I'm the secretary and have been elected for the 2nd year, so I'm in my 3rd year of being with the committee nearly. And if you want to find out about our ICE events, you're more than welcome to visit the ICE website. But I also, my boss wanted me to enter the ICE papers competition, so I did that and got into the final 3. And now my boss wanted me to apply for the award, and so I did, and didn't expect to win it, but all my volunteer work that I've done has paid off, and I've got recognition for that. But I guess, really, I think it all started with me trying to get work experience and me trying to differentiate myself on my CV, and I just grasped every opportunity. Everything that I've done was actually presented in front of me and said, would you like to do this? Would you like to become a school's ambassador? And I've said yes. And would you like to join the ICE? And I've said yes. And it's all been volunteer work, and it's been my time, but I've devoted my time, and it's proven that I've got an actual interest in engineering outside of the practical application of it, which I think today, with all the frameworks, clients are actually expecting you to be more than just an engineer. I think you need to do the networking and promote engineering for future generations, and that's actually in a lot of frameworks, like with East Riding Council. It's tied into the framework that you have to do this work around it, and I think employers would recognise volunteer work if you go out there and look for it. But that's basically how I won the award, and if anyone's got any questions that they would like to ask me about it, then you're more than welcome to. Thank you.